bit different than what we usually do. So I'm going to tell you right off the bat how different it's going to be. We will start off with some movie news, but then I decided that it would be a lot more fun if you guys got to know us outside of just the movie news world and kind of what our favorite things are. And because we are a female-centric site, we do love the men, but we're going to talk about the ladies in movies tonight because they're not talked about enough. So you're going to have a little bit of fun and get to know us a little bit better. We are a full Movie Chickk panel tonight, of course, as usual. There's 3 of us here tonight, so I'll introduce Megan Salinas first.
Hey, everybody.
And we also have Katie Cullen.
Hi, all my buddies.
We also, by the way, have an announcement for last week's giveaway, and we have a new fun giveaway as well. So I'm excited about that one. So thanks to the studios for letting us participate in the giveaways. So we'll start off with the box office this week, which was really surprising for me. The Martian came in at number 1. Number 2 was Hotel Transylvania. Number 3, it was Pan. Number 4 was The Intern. And number 5 was Sicario. I am super surprised about this because Hotel Transylvania has been up there for a while, which is great. But we had a new family-friendly movie come in this week, which was Pan, and I was really, really surprised that it didn't at least place higher than Hotel Transylvania. I kind of had a little bit of high hopes for it, but I'm not surprised to see The Martian still number 1. Were there any surprises for you guys?
I'm surprised that Sicario's down as far as it is. I was really, but again, it had a limited release before it had a nationwide release, so on the one hand, it's not surprising. On the other hand, I was kind of rooting for it too, but the Hotel Transylvania and The Martian do not surprise me. The Martian has had glowing reviews across the board. It's been a powerhouse for the last 2 weeks. Hotel Transylvania doesn't surprise me either because it's still the only seasonal family-friendly movie. Pan is a family-friendly adventure movie, but it's not Halloween-centric, so I'm not sure if October was the right month for it to open. It probably would have done better in November or even December when a lot of family films
or even in the summer. Think about Pan
like
in the summer.
blockbuster.
Which originally it was supposed to open earlier, and they pushed it back because Joe the director said he needed more time.
Which is fine.
Which is great because I do think that the movie was great, so I understand that, but I do think you're right that October probably
One more
hurt
month.
it. Yeah.
One more month would have sold it.
Yeah.
I'm with you that I think it should have been a summer movie. Like that, just with the color scheme and everything, that's what it looks to be more suited for. But I'm surprised that Pan is up as high as it is. Because from what I hear, the box office returns were really not super good. And that if it doesn't open well in China, they're looking at a $150 million cut.
Yeah, it was.
It just brutal. Did not go well.
No, it didn't. And I will say, I think what hurt this movie a lot was the talk about it before the film, of the people saying that casting things were wrong and that, it was new and different and it was not the Pan you knew. And I do think that they thought that people love Peter Pan so much that would be enough. And I think that a lot of parents and a lot of moms, they read stuff, and I think that they take reading those things and then they choose what movie they're going to go see. And if they hear bad things about Pan before it even comes out, of course they're going to pick Hotel Transylvania over it, So I think that had a lot to do with it. And I do think, again, that the release date, you're right, is a really big thing. And funny enough, I did not love Martian as much as everybody else did. So I am still a little surprised that it's still number 1.
It's hard when a movie that you genuinely love doesn't do as well as you want it to. I hear you. I'm a Rise of the Guardians fan, and that one just crushed my heart.
And I love Pacific Rim, and that was considered a failure.
Yeah, until it went overseas.
Yeah.
Until it went overseas. Thank God for those overseas viewers.
But you're absolutely right. It was negative word of mouth because the critics, people either loved it or they hated it.
Right.
And I think the passion for the negative critics was so widespread and so great that people just weren't willing to give it a chance, which is fair. It does have a fair number of things working against it in terms of the chosen one prophecy and because of those controversial casting choices.
Yeah. So it is difficult, I think, in this month. I do wish they didn't need more time, but from seeing it from the beginning stages and seeing it to the finished stages, I'm glad that it gave more time, but the box office doesn't see that. So unfortunately, it's still number 3. Blah, blah, blah. All right, let's get into I'm like,
such is life.
All right, let's get into some movie news. This let me just start off by saying that this first piece of movie news is still very, very, very much not confirmed. But I was so excited about it that I had to talk about it because it is being reported by several different movie sites that Mbatha-Raw has signed on to Star Wars Episode 5, 6, 7, 8. Sorry, I had to do it in my head because I'm really tired today. Disney has not officially said anything, like I said, but is anyone else excited as I am, or do you guys know her work enough to be excited?
We both know her from Doctor Who.
Okay.
She was Martha Jones' sister, and so I am on board with any Doctor Who veteran making it big in Hollywood. I'm rooting for her. I really hope. I've got my fingers crossed.
Is this a woman of color in Star Wars? Sign me up!
Yeah, I'm really excited. And she's a phenomenal actress. And I don't watch Doctor Who, but I'm a really big fan of period films. And I fought against seeing Belle for a really long time because I saw what it was about and I was like, nah, I don't know. It's, it might be just overdone. Sometimes period pieces that have these really big messages get lost. And 2 a.m., one of those nights that you can't sleep, it was on. And I was just enthralled by her, and I so loved her in the movie Beyond the Lights, which was such a fun movie if you haven't seen it. And it was directed by Gina Prince-Bythewood, who also directed Love and Basketball, which I feel like most people have seen, which is a great movie. And she's just such an amazing writer, and she wrote this part. And Gugu, I mean, she was just flawless in her performance. So I'm so excited to see her kind of go into this franchise. And I also have to say kudos to people at Disney and Lucasfilm with the Star Wars new movies, because they really are starting to look at talent that aren't those huge names that we all know. And I really like that. And, when Oscar Isaac had signed on to Star Wars, he hadn't really been in a lot of things yet. Inside Llewyn Davis, I believe, had just come on. And critics were raving about him, but not a lot of people actually saw the movie. So
that happens when critics rave about things, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it's a Coen Brothers film, and it didn't have a huge wide release until later on. And I think Coen Brothers, you either love them or you hate them. So I feel like not a lot of people saw that movie, and then came the next movie that they did with Jessica Chastain, but he had signed on to Star Wars before that. And I feel like they're really starting to look at the talent that isn't just the A-list stars, and they're starting to look at the up-and-coming talent, and to me that's really exciting.
Well, I have a lot of faith currently right now in just everybody that the new Star Wars film has cast.
Absolutely.
Just not only is it exciting to get the old cast back, but Gwendolyn Christie,
new people. Oh,
Captain Phasma. She every casting decision, even if they're virtually like an unknown actor, I have faith in what they've done because of the people that they have cast that I have heard of. I'm like, I have complete and total faith in what you guys are doing.
You're just going down the casting list going, yep,
Yeah.
yep, okay.
Yeah, and
May the writing and directing be good.
it's exciting. And J.J. Abrams announced this week, too, that he has the final cut of the film and that he's not going to let it become Disney-fied. So I'm excited for this year. This is going to be good.
We'll just have to wait and see.
It's going to be good.
I worry about J.J. Abrams more than I worry about Disney, not gonna lie.
My lightsaber is ready. All right. George Miller was recently asked about the future of Mad Max, and he revealed some pretty interesting news that not only will we hopefully be getting a Fury Road trilogy, but Furiosa may not be part of them. He said, and I quote, "I'm not sure is the answer. She's not in the Mad Max sequel story, but in one of the stories, there's an interaction between Max and Furiosa. I can't really say more than that because it's still in progress." So obviously, still in progress. That means it could still change, but is anyone else's heart as broken as mine about this news?
No.
Really?
Because here's the thing with the Mad Max movies. It's always Max going from place to place, winding up smack in the middle of someone else's story, and then moving on. So he's honestly what Captain Jack Sparrow should have been to the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. I'm there, I'm the character, I'm the linchpin of this franchise, but I am not the main character, despite the fact that it's named after me. So him being in the same world as Fury Road, that was a beautifully created world. Yes, I love that world. But not staying with Furiosa, that from what I can tell, the story with the Citadel is pretty much over as far as the tenets of a Mad Max movie being, big chase scenes and fighting and being slightly insane as our protagonist and all that fun stuff. So that story's over and done with. Having her cameo at one point, having them have an interaction, having them meet on the road, something like that in a future film, yes, great. But Furiosa's story the big action crazy part is over. So I am okay with them moving on to another story, but it had better be as good.
Yeah.
I concur. I hear you, Crystalie. Furiosa was by far the best part of Fury Road. She was amazing. Charlize Theron was excellent. Yes, witness this movie if you haven't seen it yet.
I mean, they turned Mad Max into a feminist world, which I just couldn't believe.
It's so wonderful.
They got all the dude bro money opening weekend, and then when they lost their noise about it being feminist, they got everyone else.
It's crazy.
Great.
Yeah, but I'm totally on board with her having a cameo, because Katie's absolutely right. It's one, Max going from one story to another. I would hope that since they're turning Fury Road into a trilogy, that means that each of the stories are of the quality, or that each of the films are of the quality that Fury Road was. What I would like, since we're not getting Furiosa in future Mad Max movies,
own movie.
I want a Furiosa movie.
Sign me up.
I mean, we already
agree.
got it with Mad Max Fury Road, but I would totally pay to see another one. She is amazing. And I mean, I don't feel too bad for Charlize Theron in this regard, because they're right now they're looking at her for an upcoming action film called The Gray Man, which would have starred a man, but they decided to switch out the main character instead of it. So it's a role written for a man, but they're going to have Charlize Theron in it anyway. At least that's initial talks. This is all buzz. Nothing's confirmed yet.
Yeah, I am really sad about it, and I do understand. I have seen the original Mad Max movies. I do understand that in every movie, he goes to a different place and deals with different people, and we've had some amazing characters come out of the movies because of that. It was Tina Turner, wasn't it?
Tina Turner was in Thunderdome.
God, Thunderdome. Like I'll never forget her character in that movie ever.
Two men
Raggedy
enter,
Man.
one man
Right.
leaves.
It's amazing. So I do understand that that's the world that they've created, but I think because there was such a change in Mad Max Fury Road because of Furiosa, I love that character so much that, okay, I agree. If they're not going to bring her into this trilogy, then let's have a trilogy following her, because she's a strong enough character. The fans loved her. The world is already created. So why not have the female version of Mad Max and follow and see where she goes and see if that would do well at the box office? I feel like studios are so afraid of movies like that because it's a female-led action movie. But I would like to see them try it with that character and with that world, because it already worked. So why not see if that's a road we can go down?
I worry about that because that's what Pirates did. Pirates of the Caribbean had that, and again, I'm going with the parallels here, really, really good first movie, especially for a Jerry Bruckheimer Disney film, which are hit and miss at best. And then instead of going, okay, for the sequel, we're going to keep our Captain Jack Sparrow and we're going to do a different story, which was what the fourth movie was, we need to keep all of the same characters and we need to keep moving along that same path and do another story. And 2 and 3, story-wise, had a lot of problems.
Yeah, no, I'm not talking about staying within the same story. I'm talking about doing the same thing that they do with Mad Max, but with Furiosa. So follow her down a road and see what she comes into and what problems she may interact, much like Mad Max does. Because I don't want to see them do what they did to Pirates. I mean, that's just that's a travesty. It's terrible. I mean, I've watched them all because you have to, because it's like, well, what are they going to do in this one? But at the same token, like, I think that if they're going to make an action film with a woman, and that's a great way to start to show the world that we want films like that and that they're going to do well, because it did so well with her. I just think that's a great starting point.
I love the idea of them crossing paths again, because you hit the nail on the head. Her being there and her journey and her mission to save everyone, that changed Max. It had a profound effect on him. He was able to work with somebody again for the first time in ages.
Yeah.
So I would love it if they would cross paths again, even if it's just briefly.
Because, she'll still be driving. She won't stick around and rule the Citadel. That'll be up to the wives.
Right,
and they'll do a
course.
good job of it.
Of course they will. All right, Disney.
See this movie.
If you haven't, you're late, real late. All right, Disney has hired Kelly Marcel, the writer of 50 Shades of Grey and Saving Mr. Banks, to pen a live-action Cruella de Vil movie that is currently apparently, possibly being said, might be hitting theaters in 2017. I'm really excited for this one and already have my pick for Cruella.
Is it Glenn Close?
No, it's not. No, it is not. But she did a fabulous freaking job, which is why that's a little bit scary for me. So what do you guys think about this one?
Well, in terms of Kelly Marcel, it's really hard to say because Saving Mr. Banks and 50 Shades of Grey are two very, very different movies, but her writing credits are mainly those two when it comes to film. So it's very difficult to say. I think just given that I loved Saving Mr. Banks, I think she can do a really good job. But I'm also kind of disappointed because I've already seen my live action 101 Dalmatians, and Glenn Close was perfect. I don't necessarily need to see another one.
And I feel like we don't necessarily need an origin story for Cruella de Vil. I mean, some people just kind of turn out like that, and not everyone has a tragic background. I don't know if this will be an origin story, but usually when your villain gets top billing, it turns out being Maleficent. It turns out being a different interpretation. So it'll be interesting to see where it goes. It'll be interesting to see her write something that isn't an adaptation of history or an adaptation of a book.
Book. By stretching the word as far as you can possibly stretch it.
So do you guys think
someone else's
Dalmatians
Twilight
killed
fan
her
fiction?
family or something?
I just think that's why I kind of have faith in her, because she was able to take a terribly written book and make it a decent movie. It was not a good movie by any way, shape, or form, but it was decent, and it did for the fans what the fans wanted and needed, and it did well because of that. And she was able to do Saving Mr. Banks in a really great way. It was a beautiful story. So, I mean, this is obviously something totally different from the two, but the only way I'm in on this, because I love the original, I love Glenn Close. Obviously, it will be a different story. It's not going to be 101 Dalmatians live action, I mean. It'll be Cruella, but the only way I'm in on this is do you know who I want it to be?
Are we going to the casting couch?
We're going to the casting couch, because the only person I
right.
want to see as Cruella is Meryl Streep.
Oh. That
Because she's the only one who can outdo Glenn Close.
Well,
she's the only one.
It kind of depends again on what they're doing. If this is an origin story, you would need a younger Cruella. But if it's just a story about her, like say right before the puppies incident, then Meryl Streep would work. But I loved Glenn Close. I thought she was perfect. I think Meryl Streep can do anything.
I'm going with the Arrested Development line here. Meryl Streep could play Batman, and it would be the correct choice.
Meryl Streep is always the correct choice. All right, because I know somebody at this table is going to be excited about this next piece of news. Because there's already talks of a Goosebumps sequel, which is very excited, and all stars are on board. Both Black and all the teenagers are contracted for multiple films, which is great news. But there may be another Stein series headed to the big screen, because according to the Wrap, 20th Century Fox is working on a film based on R.L. Stein's Fear Street. Megan, I know you're a big Goosebumps fan, so what do you think of the news? And did you read Fear Street as well?
I read very few Fear Street books growing up because they were less kid friendly. They were like
scarier.
They were marketed to
Goosebumps.
teens, weren't
Yeah,
they?
they were Goosebumps like edgy older brother kind of is the way that it was described. But I did read a couple of them, and they're more slasher oriented than they are like. I mean, there's some supernatural stuff every now and then, but like again, they're more slasher based than they are kind of with goofy monsters like an evil puppet, a giant robotic praying mantis, and everything like that.
Don't eat the peanut butter.
So
No,
with
that's one of them.
Goosebumps, no, right? With Goosebumps, it works because there's a lot of iconic monsters that you can pull from and do a night at the museum setup for it.
Yeah.
And it worked. I am a little skeptical at the idea of a sequel because they kind of didn't really leave it open to one. They kind of wrapped everything up in a really good way. But at the same time, I'd be open for it as long as they put as much effort into it as they did this first one. Yeah. I'd be okay with that. Fear Street, I'm a little bit more confused as to how they do an adaptation. I don't know if it would just be like a standalone slasher movie, or if it would be like something trying to bring in a bunch of different characters from the different books. I don't know. I'm a little bit more skeptical as to how they'd go about doing that one. But I mean, I liked Goosebumps. I think they can do it.
I feel like a Fear Street adaptation would be pick a story or pick 2 or 3 stories that are pretty similar and just kind of stick them together and adapt that into a PG-13 maybe.
Yeah, no,
film,
it would have to be
PG-13
PG-13
slasher movie. Because you're right, Fear Street people just kind of know, oh, Fear Street, he did that too. It's not like, what's your favorite Fear Street monster? What's your favorite Goosebumps monster? Oh, I love Slappy, and I love the Werewolf of Fever Swamp, and I love this, and I love that. Like, everyone's got their favorite book.
Right.
Everyone's got their favorite monster. Fear Street, everyone's got kind of a Kanye shrug going on. So,
And it'll be interesting to see if they also, in the Fear Street movies, will R.L. Stine be a part of those movies? Like, obviously, Jack Black plays him in the Goosebumps movie, so will he be a part of the Fear Street movies as well? Will they take that route, or will they do just a straight adaptation?
Yeah, Goosebumps is very meta, so it would be interesting, if they would do a meta take on Fear Street as well. Or, that's again what kind of that's again what kind of makes me a little bit more skeptical about it, because I mean, if we're getting into meta slashers, we already have the Scream series and Wes Craven's New Nightmare.
Yeah, I agree.
And
All
they
right.
can't go campy with Fear Street because that wasn't what Fear Street was trying
They could go
to
a
do.
little campy.
Yeah, but campy enough to have it be Jack Black as R.L. Stine again and the creatures getting out.
Yeah, it's more of slashers, and there's less iconic monsters that way.
Yeah.
So I won't see it if it's slasher, because we know that I'm a big wimp, because I could just about handle Slappy.
Oh,
and
it'll be
Goosebumps.
fun!
You need to see
yeah.
Scream. You still need to see Scream.
I've seen all the Screams.
Oh, good.
I can handle those. Those are just like, those
We're
are
on the
funny.
same level.
Those are
and those
popcorn.
are funny. Like, those are like I cheered when the girl was in the garage door. Like, that was amazing.
Poor Tatum.
I marveled at the strength of that garage door motor.
Amazing. I know, right? Whose garage door? All right, we're going to do our giveaways because last week we announced that we were giving away the My Little Pony Equestria Girls Friendship Games DVD. And the winner is Instagram username @Stark2Mac. So if you're not watching this, shame on you. But I will reach out to you. If you are watching this, then email us at the Movie Chickk with 2Ks @gmail.com and send us your address so that I can send this out to your little girl, because you said she loved it. We did have lots of people enter. We picked it at random. It wasn't any favoritism. Everything's always picked at random, just so you guys know. And we also have we have a giveaway this week that is just dope. That's the only way to describe it, because it is dope. This movie came out this year and is one of my favorite movies of the year. If you have not seen it, another shame on you. It's such an amazing, amazing, amazing film. And you're not only getting the movie, you're getting a Blu-ray, a DVD, and a digital on this, which I think is really exciting that they did all in one, because it's always frustrating when somebody sends you a Blu-ray and you don't have one. Like me. This is a really great movie. It has an amazing, amazing soundtrack of like 90s hip hop, which is what I grew up on. And it's so much fun. And it's about a geek who's into old school rap who finds himself in the middle of an adventure involving shady drug dealers, offbeat weirdos, and a backpack that can make or break his chance of getting into Harvard. Zoe Kravitz is in this movie, and there's moments when you think it's her mom. It's crazy, and it's a really, really fun movie. So this is what this week's giveaway. So you guys can comment below, send us a tweet, tell us why you want to win dope, and we will randomly pick for next week, because it is dope.
Can we enter? I want it.
No.
No.
No Movie Chickk staff members can enter or win.
Pretty please.
I know. It's that good. It's that
Can I
good,
enter? I'm a
people.
roommate.
All right, so now we're going to get to the part where I told you was a little bit more fun. So this actually came to me because one of our fans of the Movie Chickk, who has an Instagram called @FilmTrivia1000, does these really cool collages almost every day of like all these crazy movie facts. And one of the days he put on list your favorite badass female movie characters, and I was like, I couldn't stop. I just went on and on and on listing all my favorite badass movie characters, and I couldn't stop. And I was like, wow, that'd be a really fun idea to do with the girls, so that the people that are watching and listening can really kind of get to know us and what our tastes are. I know that there may be some crossovers, but I feel like a lot of them are going to be really different. So I'm going to start with the first one, which is a little bit out of order for you ladies, but I'm going to start with the 3 badass female movie characters, because thanks to Film Trivia 1000, he was the one who gave me the idea, so I think we should start with his. So Megan, your 3 badass female movie characters, and these are the characters, not the actors or actresses playing them.
All right. Well, I'll be short on this first one, but Furiosa. We already talked about it earlier. She is amazing. She was the best part of Mad Max. She was, the performance was great. Charlize Theron aside, the character was great. She was awesome. We just said we would watch an entire film trilogy about her.
Yeah.
I am totally on board with that. My next character, and anybody who's a big scary movie or big sci-fi movie fan will agree with me, Ripley from Alien and Aliens. I refuse to acknowledge anything that came after that.
Things came after that?
Because it broke my heart. But Ripley has a really great character arc in these first two films, and even the third one, if you want to pretend like it's exists. But going from somebody who, she has a mission and she's going to do anything to accomplish that mission, to being the sole survivor and then being dragged back into this really bad situation that's even worse the second time around, and being able to come out not only as a survivor, but as a protector, somebody who can save others because of the experiences that she's been through. I really, really love her as a character. And again, that's why it's so hard to acknowledge 3 and 4. Anyway. Okay, number 3. I'm going to go 90s on this one, and I'm going to go with Lilu from The Fifth Element. And
wow.
I disagree with wardrobe choices for this character's initial introduction. There was a lot of over-sexualizing her as a character. But that aside, she was awesome. And this is one of the first roles where Mia Jovovich was playing an action hero. And so it was very, very rare to get female action heroes in the 90s. And the only way you could get one was when they were being over-sexualized. But that being said, she was one of the first female action heroes that I ever saw. So, and Fifth Element is such a fun movie. Goofy, fun action movie with a lot of really great spectacles. You can't help but fall in love with her.
Absolutely. Katie, your 3 badass female characters are...
We already did Furiosa. I feel like she's a staple on everyone's list at this point because, yes, please. The other ones I looked at, Elizabeth Swann from Pirates of the Caribbean. This is, even if you don't look at the other 2 movies, which, take them or leave them, up to you. This is a character who has always been capable. She's not a giant action hero or anything like that, especially not in the first movie, but if you notice, she is incredibly smart. She thinks on her feet, and if she has to fight, she's prepared. She uses the hot coals against the pirates, which is a very feminine thing to do, knowing that the bed warmer is there and using that, ditching the sword that was on the wall because it wasn't going to work, calling on Parlay because she knows the pirate's code, just extremely capable in all of those movies. And, winds up as the Pirate King because she's amazing. So, if all else fails, watch the movies for her because for the most part, they do okay. Second one notwithstanding.
That one had some issues, yeah.
Well, yeah. The franchise had some issues, but she's wonderful. And you heard me talk about this a couple episodes ago, but Mako Mori from Pacific Rim.
Yeah.
She is, everyone thinks that Pacific Rim is Raleigh's story. It's not. He's kind of the Trojan horse because you're like, oh, white guy action hero, I'll watch this movie. It is not about him. It is not about him. It is completely about Mako Mori. She has the hero's journey. She has the tragic past that very much involves the kaiju. She has the bond with Idris Elba's character. And she's a giant badass, you guys.
Yeah, she is.
She basically drags Raleigh around by the nose going, we're doing this, we're doing that, we're doing this other thing. We're partners, great. By the way, there's a sword in the mech. I don't know if you knew that, but we're totally going to use that now. Cool. She's wonderful, and I love her.
That's awesome. So I went a little old school with mine. I wouldn't be myself if I didn't first choose Wonder Woman, because while she maybe hasn't had her own standalone movie yet, I can't ever say a female badass character without it being Wonder Woman. I just can't. It's in my blood. It just hurts not to. And I can't as well not choose Princess Leia as my number 2.
Excellent choice.
Every time I see, I think it's like a Walmart commercial that's airing right now that has a mom asking her daughter, so why is it that Princess Leia doesn't have to be saved? And the little girl gives this big long answer about how feminist and this and that, and it's my favorite commercial, second to the dog list, whichever. We're not talking about commercials, we're talking about movies. But Princess Leia is definitely my number 2 for badass female movie characters, because she doesn't, yes, she needs to technically be saved, but she doesn't need to be saved. She's very capable of doing things. She gets right in on the action. She doesn't want them to do things for her. And she was, for me, the first, other than Wonder Woman, first female character I saw in a movie that was like doing it for herself. And I loved that. And my third is Zoe Bell in Death Proof. If you guys haven't seen this movie, you need to just Google on YouTube Zoe Bell Death Proof, and you will understand why. I have goosebumps. Literally, I just got goosebumps. Like, I've never seen an action sequence and a woman hanging off of a car like that in my life. Like, I can't get past her and that scene in that movie. Like, it will forever be ingrained in my head. So I have to pick Zoe Bell in Death Proof.
That's awesome. I mean, it's no surprise, Quentin Tarantino.
And she's like his girl. And just in case you don't know Zoe Bell from Death Proof, she is Xena. Like, yes, there was the actress Lucy Lawless that played Xena, but she didn't do any of her stunts. Zoe did everything that was Xena. Like, she is Xena. The costume was made for her. So, I mean, if you're a Xena fan, you know Zoe Bell because you watched her. And she is Quentin's girl. Like, she does all the stunts for all his movies. And he writes her into almost every movie he does. So, I mean, that's
excellent.
Yeah.
Have you watched any of Star Wars Rebels?
No.
It's
like, I don't have time.
It's Star Wars show with great female characters.
So good.
Sabine, Hera, and Ahsoka Tano, guys. Sorry, spoilers. Sorry, that was a spoiler.
The ending of the first season's been out for a while.
Yeah, but really great female characters. So check it out when you get time. One day.
I have to stick to movies because we talk about movies here. I can only do movies. All right, so we're going to do 2 instead of 3. Your 2 underrated female actresses that you would like to see have more lead roles, Megan.
Okay, since we're going with 2 instead, I'm going to start with Ming-Na Wen. She's currently in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. as Agent May, and if you guys haven't seen Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you might know her as the voice of Mulan. She's also done a ton of like sitcom work, but Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., first of all, again, she's Mulan, who is without a doubt one of my favorite Disney characters. Yeah. She's just so badass. And for those of you who haven't been watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Agent May I would watch an entire show just focused around Agent May. So I would really love if she got a little bit more limelight, because she's just fantastic. And as Agent May, she's just phenomenal. And next one, I'm going to go with Rashida Jones as well, for pretty much the exact same reason. She is hilarious in Parks and Recreation, and I was heartbroken when she left the show. And now that the show is done, I'm even more heartbroken. So many things. But she's always a riot in anything she's in, but she's always a side character.
Yeah.
I've never seen her as the star. I would love for her to get her own time in the limelight.
Yeah, I agree. She is always a side character, and I think she could hold her own on a movie. Katie, who are your 2 underrated female actresses?
Well, for starters, Gwendolyn Christie. If you watch Game of Thrones, she is Brienne of Tarth. She is cast in Star Wars Episode 7 as Captain Phasma, who looks to be an amazing character. She has fantastic acting chops, and people, she's not the classic Hollywood beauty, and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
She freaking owns it. The girl is amazing. So you want to see a female action hero? Sign her up.
Nice.
Yes, she would be absolutely amazing. On a similar vein, Rinko Kikuchi. Gotta go with it. She played Mako Mori. She very much proved that she can do the main character role. Let's give her more.
I love that you can tell very much by each of your picks, like, your style of stuff as well. Like, it's so very you. It's amazing. So my 2 underrated female actresses, I have to go with Gugu first. Because I did love Belle and I did love Beyond the Lights, and I do hope she does. I hope this casting isn't just a rumor. I hope that she really does get Star Wars, because she is she's just amazing, and I love to see her have more lead roles, not only as a woman but a woman of color who's super talented. I would just really love to see that. And then my second actress is, and she's been in a lot of movies but not a lot of lead roles, is Imogen Poots. She is, to me, fabulous. She was great in Need for Speed, which I don't know why that movie got such a bad rap, because I thought it was really fun. She was amazing in A Long Way Down, which I might be the only person who ever saw. She's Funny That Way, that just came out. She's hilarious in. She's just a really great actress who every time I see her is a completely different role and nails it every time. And every time you see her, you expect it to be like, oh, that's funny, quirky girl. And sometimes she's not. Sometimes she's really serious. And I would love to see her career grow and her take more lead roles, because she's, to me, so much fun to watch. So those are my picks. So your two favorite female movie villains, Megan. Who are your two favorite female movie villains?
Two. Well, initially we had three.
Yes,
so
we
now
did.
Now I feel
I messed
conflicted.
everything up because we're running low on time. So we have to shorten it from 3 to 2.
Going off of what you said about Quentin Tarantino, going back to Kill Bill, because that was the first Quentin Tarantino movie I ever saw. O-Ren Ishii, played by Lucy Liu. She is amazing. She is a half Japanese, half Chinese American who became the head of the Yakuza. That alone, and she has this monologue in the film that is just both hilarious and awesome and terrifying. So if you guys haven't seen Kill Bill yet, check it out, because she kills it as O-Ren.
She does.
And okay, I'm going to go with, for my second one, I'm actually going to go with Catwoman from Tim Burton's Batman Returns.
Wow.
And the reason I go with that is, first of all, Batman the Animated Series was great, but this, I believe, was the first time I saw a female villain, actually, in a film, or at least a live-action film, which says a lot, because, you know, it's a comic book movie. And, first of all, Michelle Pfeiffer is just amazing as Catwoman. And second of all, you know, she was, not only was she a bad guy, but she was a complex bad guy.
Yes,
she was well-rounded, and you felt bad for her, too. This was a nice person who got into a really bad situation, and so you, in a way, you're really rooting for her. Mm-hmm. So, and I may have dressed up as her when I was in second grade for Halloween.
That's awesome. Katie, who were your favorite female
I think in second grade I
villains?
was still dressing up as cats for Halloween.
I was Catwoman.
She's Catwoman, same thing.
Why didn't I know you then? I had, admittedly, one of these was kind of joking, so I'm going to skip over it. I have both from Disney, actually. Maleficent.
Yes.
Who, if you look at the hierarchy of Disney villains, she's at the top, because let's face it, Chernabog and Fantasia doesn't count. He throws a house party and then goes away when they call the holy police on him. Not really a villain. Maleficent is terrifying. She is completely in control of her situation at all times, and will do things just for spite. She's angry because she didn't get invited to what is essentially the big social event of the medieval year. And she curses a baby for that, goes after them, goes after the fairies. She is absolutely terrifying because she is so deliberate and so powerful. And I remember watching it with you for your first time, and your comment was, you know you're a badass when the queen calls you your grace.
Or when you curse a baby.
Yeah.
But when you curse a baby.
It was the queen of the kingdom. No, it was your excellency, calling Maleficent your excellency when she showed up going, so why wasn't I invited to this party?
And who was your second one?
Yzma from Emperor's New Groove.
Wow.
I freaking love Yzma so much.
That's amazing.
It's hard to find a good comedy villain that isn't just, oh, sexy bimbo who's dumb. She's ambitious, but she cannot get good help and nothing goes right for her. And it is absolutely beautiful.
Mine are so different. I did have Maleficent on my list, but
Did we
I had
all?
four.
We all three
had
I had
Maleficent.
four. I have four just because it was hard for me to pick. And my first one, because nothing scared me more than Annie Wilkes in Misery, played by Kathy Bates.
Yeah.
It was just so real, and so creepy and so wrong, and so I could see that happening. Like, it was just so creepy. And Kathy Bates, man, she just nailed it. And like, nothing, there's no villain to me next to Kathy Bates. And then my second and third were really, really, really hard to go with. But I'm gonna stick with my second being Lisa from Girl Interrupted, played by Angelina Jolie, because to me, what's more terrifying is a villain that can get in your head and make you think what they want you to think. To me, that psychological mess is even scarier than anything else, which is in line with my third, which was the single white female character. So I'm more afraid of the psychological villains, because those creep me out more, because they get in your head and they play with your head and you don't know what's going on, and then all of a sudden you're doing things you're not supposed to, and it's just very scary to me. Very, very scary.
No, master manipulators are always terrifying.
Master manipulators. And we have been asked every week for the past 3 weeks to bring back, if you haven't seen this, We Can't Be Friends, because we have a loyal watcher and listener who's amazing and every week tweets us, and he's like, but I don't know if we can be friends this week. So this week we're going to find out if we can be friends, and we're each going to give one film that if you haven't seen, we can't be friends. And Katie, do you want to start?
Yeah, let's go back to 1980. I believe it was 83. This movie had absolutely groundbreaking technology. It is the first time that anyone had, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
My heart is singing.
The first time that anyone had ever seen this animation style. Groundbreaking is the only word for it. It's basically the basis of Pixar. There would be no Pixar without this movie. I'm talking about Tron. You guys, if you haven't seen Tron, you need to see
like, Pixar,
Tron.
are we talking about Toy Story? No, that wasn't in the 80s. I'm like, where is she going with this?
Created for Tron, the computer modeling, the computer animation. This is a film that was filmed entirely in black and white for the scenes on the grid, and they went in and drew in all of the colors and all of the lights on every single frame. This is seriously. Jeff Bridges, Bruce Boxleitner, and Cindy Morgan. Wonderful performances, and Bruce Boxleitner and Cindy Morgan play dual roles. And this is the world of computer programs, and oh my God. I'm losing words because I love this movie so dang much. I will say that you have to kind of get through it the first time and go, oh my God, what did I just witness? Have a drink, watch it again. It makes a lot more sense the second time around, and then you'll finally understand why it's in Kingdom Hearts as well.
Yeah, no. Oh, man. Again, it makes my heart sing. But
I know,
you're absolutely right. It requires a second watch, because the
Yes.
first time you're like, what was that?
I love it.
And once you watch it the third time, you fall in love and you never get out. Nope. Back to the grid.
I'm going to go with something a little bit more seasonal. I'm going to go with, if you guys haven't seen Paranorman, We Can't Be Friends.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Paranorman is a stop-motion animated film, which I'm so happy, it's like a little brother to Coraline and, a distant child of, like, The Nightmare Before Christmas. But it is, like, just because it's done in the same style of those films doesn't mean it's not wholly original and just wonderful. It is this very meta take on zombie films.
Yeah.
And it has really mature messages that I really, really appreciate that is done for a kid's audience without being, like, watered down
It's
for
also
them.
really cute, right?
It is also adorable
Yeah.
and really genuinely funny.
Super
Guys,
fun.
if you're looking for a treat this Halloween, I highly recommend Paranorman.
So I'm going back to 84. And if you haven't seen The Never-Ending Story, We Can't Be Friends, because that's a classic. It was the year before Goonies. It was the first real fantasy adventure film that we kind of got in that kind of realm of differentness. And because my dog looks like Falcor, so I'm obsessed. The piglet, the intern, looks exactly like Falcor. If she was a boy, it would have been her name. But it's one of my favorite kids' movies. It's literally every time I watch it, it makes me feel like I'm 5 again, and it's just amazing, and I love it, and it's such a great story, and it's fun, and you got to go to another world, and it's fantasy, and it had all the elements of what you want in a great kids movie. And I feel like they don't make movies like that anymore. I mean, there were the Harry Potters, which are amazing, but you have to be of a certain age, I think, to watch Harry Potters.
No, there's something wonderful about the dark 80s fantasy films. They will never happen again.
No, and I love that I'm a kid of the 80s. I hate to admit it, but I love being a kid of the 80s because it's the best time to ever be born. Okay, so we did have a couple other segments, but we are running out of time, so we're not going to be able to give them to you, but maybe we'll do them on another episode. And don't worry, we will do an episode of our favorite males, our favorite male villains, our favorite male badass characters. We will do that as well because I think it's only fair. This weekend is Crimson Peak is coming out, which is going to be absolutely stunning. Guillermo del Toro. Bridge of Spies is coming out. It's an amazing Tom Hanks movie that I was so pleasantly surprised by. If you think it looks boring, it's not. Go see it. Goosebumps, which we love, we rave. It's hilarious. Go see it. Woodlawn, fun football movie, inspirational football movie.
I was going to say fun. I don't think is the right word.
Inspirational football movie. And then the Beasts movie, and I don't know why I can't think of the actual name because I have it
of No Nation.
I have it typed in Beasts of No Limited. It's Beasts of No Nation. It's coming out limited. That's why I have it's limited. And it's also coming out on Netflix, which I think is amazing because this movie, Idris Elba, looks like he's shining in, and he's an amazing actor, and I really can't wait to see this movie on Netflix. So that's what's coming out this weekend. Make sure you guys hit the movie theaters. Also, don't forget to check out the Popcorn Talk Network. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be here. We do quick reviews with them. Once a week, we do reviews for under 5 minutes on Popcorn Talk, and they also have a slew of shows as well as a slew of shows on AfterBuzz TV, which gives you a post-game wrap-up show for every television show out there, so make sure you check that out. And then also make sure you go to our website, themoviechick.com with 2 Ks, and read all these ladies' lovely reviews and movie news. Follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, and make sure to subscribe to YouTube so we know that you want us to keep doing this show. Ladies, where can they find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter at TheMenguin. That's TheMenguin. I am also on a bunch of shows at AfterBuzz, including Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. later on tonight. Hint, hint. And be sure to check out the quick review I did for Goosebumps here at Popcorn
Talk. It's great. I watched it. Where can they find you, Katie?
You can find me on Twitter, Tumblr, and Instagram at Kiaxet. That's Kiaxet. I am also on so many of the shows at AfterBuzz, including Muppets, which starts in just a few minutes, and Blind Spot, which is on later on tonight.
They're both wicked overachievers, and they're on every show here. I swear to God, they're on every single show. So if you like a show, I guarantee you they're probably on the panel.
I feel like that's physically impossible.
You guys can find me everywhere at Chrisley, and you can also find me every Monday morning on Monday Morning Critic for Regal Cinemas. We will see you guys next week on This Week in Movie News. See ya.